Welcome back to Berlin, but it all comes down to this. Fnatic have chosen red side. Reckless's team has rejoined him on stage.
Yes.
Powerful, powerful shots of Reckless being the only member of this series on stage after the team huddle, after the discussion. Tofisho, this is a tough game if you're a Fnatic fan or wearing a Fnatic jersey.
It's such a hard situation to read as, like, you know, a spectator. Because in many ways, it feels like Fnatic are 5 individual members who refuses to lose, but they can't really seem to help each other.
Yep.
So it's all about the individual guy trying to make the play. Caps game 1, it worked. Reckless game 2, it didn't work. Game 3, is it Soa's time?
Maybe it's been Soa's time for a while, and we've not seen the same level of performance and dominance from this player of years gone by, unfortunately. Tough split for the whole squad. Reminder, Giants are locked into 5th place, right? They will go to the promotion tournament.
Yes.
In 2 weeks' time. It starts on Thursday and Friday after week 10, just before quarterfinals.
And I'll be very honest, Trevor.
Yep.
After Schalke didn't manage to perform, and obviously didn't get to use that 15-0 split, then I look at Giants and compare them to the remaining challenger teams. And I think Giants have a very good chance of getting back into the LCS. I think they are definitely as good, if not better, than whatever they can face.
Well, tomorrow, Tofisho, you'll get another glimpse at PSG taking on Fnatic Academy. That's the last EU Challenger Series playoff match, and the winner goes to promo. Let's find out who they will be placing. Obviously, it'll be Giants. And as we jump into this game, no real surprises here. Pick some bands: Rumble, Lee Sin, Lucian, Rengar, Camille, Talon, and once again, Nautilus first pick.
I mean, the Lucian ban here is a little bit interesting. It's instead of Malzahar, a champion that is banned almost every game here in Europe. I want to see if Fnatic actually wants to play it. They have valued Zyra so highly, they first picked her last game. All right, Source wants his cannon, or Reckless wants his cannon. You never know with Fnatic. With the Lucian ban, it might be a situation where Reckless is saying, I need a split-pushing AD carry. Yes. Now, I never thought I would say those words as an analyst, but I just did.
Reckless has played Kennen twice this split as well, and with Malzahar available, Jesus still prioritizes the Zyra. So is this a worthwhile Lucian ban? Now that potentially Giants could put Nautilus top and take Malzahar for hustling?
Yeah, I think so. I think being able to get you know, a Malzahar pick, if they want to play. Like, the thing is, when certain champs gets banned all the time, some teams just don't want to pick it up when it's actually available because they don't feel like maybe it's a champion they're that strong with because they haven't gotten to practice it. Caitlyn pick worked pretty well last game. Laning phase-wise, also going to be okay here for Giants. I don't want to see that Nautilus support.
Okay, nor do I. I'd like to see Flaxish top.
Give me Karma.
Let's turn our priorities to the mid lane a little bit. We've had Kayle, we've had Anivia. Vlad has been traded. Do you think that changes this game? Is Vlad still kind of tier 1 mid laner?
Yeah, definitely, especially if you can get him in Caps' position where you can ban 2 mid laners. Giants valuing the jungler over getting a Karma pick for the bottom lane. Still things like Lulu, Nami as well, if you want to go for like these mage supports down there. Now with the Graves being locked in, Fnatic has to decide, do we want to sacrifice top lane, jungle? Do we want to get the Vlad and then ban out 2 mid lane picks like Orianna? Because the Anivia, while it won the game, was not very effective for most of the game.
It was not indeed, and we have confirmation that it is ADC Kennen here for Reckless.
Yeah. Although not even that surprising, honestly.
You know, it could even go mid. Caps could play it. And, you know,
no.
They pulled some shenanigans before.
This is Reckless just telling his team, guys, I need Kennen. I'm going to play split push, and that's how we're going to win the game. We're not going to win as 5. We're not going to win through massive late game fights. Even though they actually won a lot of late game fights in the last game, they still opted in for this crazy 1 versus 1, try and get the Nexus play in the end.
So if that's the case, and it is going to be split push Kennen, and you've got potential split push Shen as well, what does the jungler and mid laner need to be, or what style do they need to fill for Fnatic as we're moving into phase 2?
Well, again, yeah, if you want to play Shen one lane, Kennen another one, then you should get a wave clear machine in the mid lane for mid lane. A guy who can hold the mid while Kennen is pushing. Because whenever Fnatic has used his Kennen, it's been stuck in the side lanes. It is so rare Reckless even joins a fight. So they need something that can hold mid, which is now going to be Caps' job, if it is, you know, this pure split push cannon, which is why you pick it. So that's what we're looking for. a wave clear mid laner who can hold mid lane in check, like Syndra would work. Because obviously the problem for Fnatic is they're very focused on early game. They actually removed the Syndra here because Kennen, late game as an AD carry, is not very strong.
Do they go like old school pick? Corki, is that dead? Do they pick something new with all of the mid lane champions being banned away?
Victor is here.
Oh yeah.
As an option. If they want to go full crazy mode, the Kale pick as a last pick again. Like, it was just like, there's almost too many chefs then in the kitchen because Kale wants to split push, Shen, Kennen, like, someone needs to hold the mid lane. Kale big ban there. I actually think this is smart from Giants, just because you don't want to risk it. You lost in 25 minutes in the first game.
Whoa.
All right.
Whoa. Okay, so what do you think, LeBlanc? Blind?
Gotta keep in mind, on this patch, a lot of the power from LeBlanc got taken away from damage and put into wave clear.
Fair.
So it is crazy and not the most standard wave clear pick, but it is actually one that can sit and hold mid unless you start sieging. That's always the thing for LeBlanc. It's so hard when she's sitting under the tower against things like Graves and Caitlyn, but if she's left alone in the lane in mid, she will wave clear really fast.
Now, you talk about sieging. Fnatic don't have a great sieging comp here. Very short range, but they can play side lanes.
It's literally just split push. This is pure split push, 1v1, 2v2. We do not care about team fights. Each individual member on Fnatic wants to try and carry.
Okay. Let's see if they're allowed to, because if everyone wants to carry, you can drop the hot potato and then maybe nobody can carry. That's a potential. You get your karma for hustling.
Good.
Giants will have a little bit of an answer to some of this, you know, global with a semi-global in Rise. Some scaling on this side as well.
I guess we get Elise coming in here, even though it's a lot of magic damage from Fnatic. They might need a physical damage jungler, so that's where Kha'Zix pops in. Fits the skirmish build as well. Glad to see Fnatic, they're aligned. They all know what to play. You need to be able to fight 1v1. You need to be able to fight 1v1. If I had to pick a support for 1v1, Zyra might be one of them as well. So this is not your traditional pick and ban phase. If you are looking at the right side with Fnatic. If you look at the left side, well, it's actually very standard in a lot of ways. Nautilus top, Graves jungle, Cade Karma bot lane. Very, very well-rounded, fantastic team fight. Ryze can try and match split push in a side lane.
Do Giants have to break the split push, then siege themselves? Because they've got a comp that seems pretty strong at that.
Listen, Giants needs to get ready for a game they don't normally play. They need to get ready for a game where Fnatic will throw everything at them one by one by one. And they will come from top lane, mid lane, bot lane, jungle, outside of the rift. It doesn't matter. Fnatic will try and attack this from so many different angles. I can't even say it's a normal strategy in any way. Because this will be reckless stuck in the side lane for most of it. And whenever he's played that, it's been difficult to play against. Think back to last game.
Yep.
It's going to be the same kind of game from Fnatic.
Let's find out. Let's see. Fnatic now in a fight for their lives. Lozark and temporary coach Finley for Fnatic walk off stage. Guys, jump onto Twitter and let us know who will be victorious here. Hashtag GIA win or hashtag FNC win. There's a number of options. What could happen here if Fnatic win or lose the series that has post-season implications. We'll break them down once we get into the game and we have a little bit more time to talk. Especially if Fnatic are going to be playing these side lanes. We may have a lot of time to talk as Fnatic plays the map against Giants. It's been a series that has been defined by tower kills, side lane pressure. And the fans here in Berlin heavily in favor of Fnatic. Deficio for the last time tonight. Fnatic take on Giants.
It's just absolutely insane how much risk Fnatic is taking here, but they clearly think this is their best shot at winning. Because their composition, if it falls behind, is so useless. They will lose to Ryze in the side lane. They're going to get pushed by Nautilus in the Shen matchup. They can't defend the siege versus Caitlyn, Graves, these kind of picks. So Fnatic putting so much focus on getting ahead early and then play pure split push.
Flash taunt, flash taunt, flash taunt. So is going to go for it. Doesn't even need the flash. Memento, first blood goes to Broxah.
Well, I guess that's a fine start if you want to get an early advantage. 500 gold in the lead and the kill went over to the Kha'Zix.
Yeah, this early in the game. Finally reduced, but still very good value. And that's super important. Look at this. Broxah instantly goes back to pick up a talisman.
Only Jess's used Flash. Always important to look at Flash's level 1 because it's actually sometimes worth it to give up a kill but then get like 4 summoner spells. In this case, it was just Jess's using a Flash. Memento can look to go bottom lane early and punish him if Fnatic is pushing, but this Karma Caitlyn lane from Giants will be very strong early. So Giants are not really at threat or at risk of losing a lane here. Ryze will hold mid for sure. Karma Kate will be fine, but Nautilus will even push the Shen, meaning Memento can look to invade. Side of him, he died, and slowed him down a tiny, tiny bit.
It did indeed.
Not really too much.
Jesus and Reckless should have a tough time in the earlier levels, yeah. Caitlyn into Cannon. Hikyu's gonna have a good time. Outranges Cannon on basically everything.
At any point in the game where Giants is ahead and able to actually play as a team, they will be so much better than Fnatic. Not just compositions, but also I feel like if you look at actually what Giants are bringing to the table as a team that's been together all split long, not had that much success, but at least synergy should be there. Good invade. This is what we talk about. You know, you have push on top side. That means Nautilus can join.
And that push is exacerbated by the fact Soa's had to start Taunt as well. I mean, not that any
of course
other spells would have had a great impact into Flaxish in the top lane. But yeah, Memento at least gets a red buff steal. Broxah not going to reply. So 3 buff start here for Memento.
Obviously, Raptor Cam is the one for experience that Broxah is getting. And he has a kill from the start, so he's fine. Good trade here from Soa against Flaxish. I like Ryze a lot. I'm actually really happy whenever we see him as a pick against things like LeBlanc. Saw him earlier today in LCK against Talon. Faker blind pick Talon. Crown just picked Ryze. Had him under control all game long. Because it's still such a good, like, in many ways, like, safe. It lost some damage. It's not as annoying to deal with as before. But it's so good when it comes to instant CC. Things like LeBlanc has a small delay on her distortion jumping back. Voice is getting up, Trevor. I'm getting too old for this.
It's been a long day.
I'm getting too old for this, man.
We've had a few interesting series to cover. And on stage today, and now Fnatic, their backs are against the wall. So, Deficio, I mentioned that there's a few options here. Do you think we've got enough time to run through a few of them?
Yeah, okay.
So listen, if Fnatic 2-1 Giants, they win this game, they win the series, they need to win at least a game or 2 against G2 or Misfits, even if they lose the series, on the assumption that Roccat lose to G2. Because the game difference could be the deciding factor. Now, of course, for Fnatic, they can still control their destiny. Even if they lose here, they can win out against G2 and Misfits, and that can get them into playoffs. But a Fnatic squad that's struggling against Giants is going to need a underperforming Misfits and potentially underperforming G2, and that is a lot to ask. It's a risky situation to be in.
That is definitely true. Fnatic would have to beat Misfits to have a chance if they lose the series, which seemed impossible a few weeks ago.
Yes.
And I'm not basing this on Fnatic getting much stronger, but more like the Misfits have struggled a little bit. However, because Fnatic has been in such a massive slump for weeks, we can't say that they're going to be favorites or even close to favorites in that potential game. This is really the one game for Fnatic to win, to save this season.
Thing is, because they lost the game to Giants, it's still not as clear-cut as that. They can still win this series.
Of course, but this is step one. This is step one.
Fnatic get 2-0'd in both of their series next week, there's a possibility Roccat can still overtake them. It comes down to game difference. It comes down to all 3 series.
So for now,
get played.
Focus on this game.
Yes.
If you're a Fnatic, fan, you need to win this series, as Trevor highlighted. So far now, you have good trades. Source on top side, able to push it in. Bot lane is falling behind. That's what we mentioned. Can be difficult against Karma Caitlyn. Really, such an annoying lane to deal with. So much poke. Such a safe lane as well. And Giants is pushing, and they want to make sure the Giants do not fall further behind, because then Fnatic can start running around all over the map, forcing 1v1s.
Well, just from that first blood and some CS alone, Fnatic have accrued around 1,000 gold lead, which is good for them. Most of it is centralized in Broxah. And of course, Soaz having a good time farming the top lane, but it's Giants. They pull the trigger first on the lane swap.
So they're respecting the fact that Source will hit level 6 soon on this Shen. And they don't want to stay in the bottom side and risk a big play from Fnatic. It is a very early swap here, but the good thing for them is that Reckless has just recalled now. That's what happens when you have to push in bottom lane, which Giants did. You get to recall first, which also means you get to run to whichever lane you want first. That's what is showing up top here. In a perfect world, this wave had been pushed towards Source Tower already. They could join and hit the tower. Now they have to just accept that they have to push in a wave, and Reckless can actually move up here and stop them. So you can see Reckless Jesses on the way top lane.
Good damage from Capstan tonight. Knight, unfortunately, caught a minion with one of those overloads. I like the fact that Giants were the first ones to pull the trigger on this lane swap. Both previous games, it felt like Fnatic were making that play earlier.
This ward is disabled. They think Source is recalled. But didn't manage to find anything. There was another ward being placed here. So, while Giants get a swap, because again the wave top lane was not pushed towards the tower, they're not getting to the tower first. Yeah. That has allowed Fnatic to now match it and then catch the wave. But it's a big wave bot lane. Source will not get because he used teleport. So, small win here for Giants.
Small advantages to maybe make up for the gold deficit in farm. And at the moment, we'll see how the game continues to play out. To Fisher, as you've alluded to, this split push composition from Fnatic. They can't afford to make mistakes and fall behind. Because if they ever have to defend a siege against Caitlyn, Nautilus, Karma, the tools that they have to overcome are just terrifying despite the changes to LeBlanc in this patch.
Yeah, it will take Kennen half a year to kill the Nautilus in a potential fight. Because then you're not only trying to kill him, you're also trying to go through Redemption, Locket Shield, Karma Shields. Like, it's never going to happen late game. It's never going to happen for Fnatic unless we get to full 6 items and we start getting into this territory where it's about individual mistakes.
Yes.
But before we get to that point, if it is dead even and Giants are not getting split pushed, then it's in favor of Giants.
Got a question for you, Fisher. Oh, Reckless takes a big chunk there on that.
My answer is yes.
The question for you is, do you feel we've seen a small amount of individual mistakes this series? Because it feels like it's been map play that has dominated it. You can answer that in a moment because Reckless is going very, very aggressive. Stand United coming down from Soaz. Hustlin still got a flash available, and that Stand United was interrupted.
Yeah, Soaz was actually standing very close to the Nautilus, but in the brush to challenge this one, and Flash just hooked him, stopped him. This was why Giants were opting into that lane swap earlier, because they knew like a Kennen level 6 with a Shen ulti could be dangerous. But because Flaxus stops the TP from Soaz, then Fnatic has to accept they only got 3 summoners. Still a small victory right there for Fnatic. They forced Karma back to base, and that's giving Reckless a bit of time to catch up in CS. No ulti from Soaz, will have TP soon. This gives Flaxus the TP advantage for at least a minute. Problem for Giants, they're not really able to set up anything anywhere. And they just have to accept Source will get his teleport soon.
Look at this, and this is kind of what I was mentioning before the fight. Fnatic initiate a dive, they don't get the kill, but a lot of damage on that top outer turret.
They have to back away. They have to back away top because Broxah just showed that he was on bottom side. So if they stayed on the tower, then they would get ganked and TP'd on. So you can see here, look at the Graves. He's in the Baron pit. He's going to dash over, realize there's a control ward though because he gets disabled. And in the end, Fnatic step away from turret just long enough that the Memento has to realize he's spotted because they see the ward come down. And then Fnatic knows. So this is good for Fnatic. Infernal Drake, damage on top tower. All starts with that play from Reckless and Source.
Yeah, it's just that's how you start the snowball, right? We're approaching 10 minutes in. What was a losing lane for Reckless technically still is with that HCS deficit, but if you take into account the Dragon, the damage on tower,
this is the TP advantage we mentioned just before.
This is so scary. Knight's going to arrive with the round warp. Stranglethorns used just to buy time, but not underneath the tower. Jesus had no support. Reckless is trying to get some damage onto Hikyu. He's got no flash to escape. Giants get themselves 2 kills. Now Caps is going to be the target. Memento trades a couple of autos, and Giants are forced to back away.
And we're talking seconds, Trevor, before Source had a TP on his own. But Giants knew that TP advantage. They had the roam from Knight with the ulti. They're like, great, now we can set up a play. As a team, as a group, we can make this. They get top tower now. They got 2 kills. Perfect for Giants.
Yeah, really well played. And the first tower of the game. Plus that bonus gold, so Fnatic.
And this is not good if you have this comp that cannot fall behind. This was simply a macro play. You talked about the map plays earlier. I would say we have a lot of map plays in this series. I wouldn't say we've had a lot of, you know, rotations or beautiful setups, but
yes,
it's been a lot
of map plays good.
A lot of crazy split pushing. So this is just a great setup. Source's TP is ready now, but at this point he can't use it, and it's too late. Also with Broxah being back in base, no response possible for Fnatic. Giants will get the play and will get the tower. Here's the response though, because this is the thing always about League of Legends. You make a play, then you go back, the enemy team can make a play. You accept that all the time, but if you are ahead on the play, then whenever they're gonna make that counter move, you might be able to just trade. So not only did you get a tower, they will get top tower, but look at bot lane. Giants already down bottom lane saying, fine, we trade now, and we still have a 1 tower advantage.
Giants still with the advantage thanks to the teleport and the dive in the top lane. Flaxer should zone Soaz very far away from his lane. Doesn't look like there's any potential here for a fight as long as Broxah doesn't overstay. Smoke screen comes down from Memento and Soaz waiting in the wings, looking at Knight as well. He's coming down to the bottom lane, so Fnatic, they shouldn't stick around because they could get jumped on. Is there enough time for Reckless Jesus to take that bottom tower?
No, not enough minions, and Nautilus is on the way back. Giants have this under control for now, but they will. You can see this tower take a lot of damage, and you have to respect how fast Kennen can actually take them down with the attacks we built. Bladed Rune King always coming in. You see Hurricane if you want to be a fast pusher.
Yeah.
So things like Wit's End to be super strong in the 1-1 against things like Nautilus and Wise.
Let's compare Reckless and Hikyu a little bit. Reckless had a great Lucian game in the previous match, played that split push and a lot of damage because he was really carrying a lot. You can see the damage percentage because he soloed Flaxish a few times.
Yeah, he did.
That's going to help out. Hikyu, on the other hand, pretty good. Caitlyn, you know, he did his job, aggressively flashing forward at times in the late game.
Just impossible to play Caitlyn in that situation when everyone is playing all the different lanes. A little trap here from Fnatic, they've been liking these. Okay,
let's see, it didn't work last time, and the dredge line gets Flaxish to safety for now. That's a stun from the passive of Kennen. Flaxish gets knocked up into the air, and a 3-on-1. Flaxish will go down. It's Jesus that claims the kill. They've stuck around long enough for Giants to chase up. Realm Warp might close the distance. Knight and Hikyu gonna look to chase forward, but Brox is coming up from the river. Jesus is rooted in place, and the Rune Prison sends him back. It's 1-for-1.
But now it was Fnatic who made the play, so now they have a bit more map pressure. You can see mid lane, Cap's able to push in. This is the situation Giants win before. They got first tower, they recalled, but then Fnatic made a play, they could just trade. Now Fnatic are doing the same. They trade 1-for-1 in kills, but they just got about 40% damage on this mid tower. It's a little bit low already from before, so it's the same situation just on the other side. You trade, but we're moving first, so we get a little bit extra on the way out. This sneaky setup, and this is what I said in Champ Select. This is what Giants needs to mentally get ready for. Will happen all game long. Because Shen plus Kennen is gonna just focus on split pushing and catching people in side lanes. So if you as a team can't handle that in terms of communication, then you're gonna end up getting caught a lot.
Now, admittedly, Reckless did not have the Blade of the Rune King completed when they started that fight, but Flaxish survived a very, very long time. So the longer this game goes, surely the more difficult it becomes to try and make that play. Will it allow more time for Giants to respond, or it's tough?
It's tough to say.
Yeah.
Obviously, Nautilus will get more tanky. I do think Flaxish might have misclicked his boots.
I looked at those sorcerer shoes, I wasn't sure.
There really is no reason to go Magic Pen on Nautilus. It's not going to help you that much in a Shin 1v1 if that's what you're looking for. And Ninja Tabby would obviously be a strong pickup against Reckless, or some MR on your boots to also work against.
Can't afford to make those mistakes in a game 3.
Maybe it's on purpose, and it's just something I haven't seen before, but I think other boots would have been a better choice.
Like the Rage Blade Callista from Hans Summer that we were talking about last week.
Which actually wasn't a mistake.
Yes, he opted into it, but
makes sense.
We weren't sure at the time. Hans Summer spoke about how he prefers that build, despite it taking longer ramp-up time.
More rage stacks on one target when you have the Rage Blade fully stacked out. So, Fnatic has gotten 2 turrets. That means the map gets to open up. Sorry, for 1 turret, so they got the top one. And this is where, if you're Fnatic, this is the perfect time to get all the outer turrets. The longer the lanes are, the deeper you can push them. The harder it is for Giants to respond. That's important to highlight.
Also important that Fnatic get 2 uncontested dragons here. Some investment in the mid to late game.
However,
option to play around.
I don't think Giants care too much.
Okay.
Simply because Giants' late game will be superior, even against 2 dragons and 1 Infernal. So them surrendering dragons to set up like this defense basically on the map and like just farm. It's not terrible. Perfect world, you don't lose to dragons, but if you're Giants right now, you're not panicking.
If you're a Fnatic fan, and Fnatic are even at this stage, for the most part, when do you start to panic? Because Fnatic's team comp doesn't really want to be even, right? Because they don't want to be in 5v5. And don't want to go into the late game on an even keel. They want control of the map. They want vision. They want more towers.
There's still plenty of time. There's still plenty of time. Like, we're just getting first items completed. We're building towards second items. We're still early on, so like getting down these outer turrets now is still okay. Still plenty of time to be a split pusher. Split pushing comms tends to be really good for good like 25-30 minutes.
Okay.
And then they often end in that situation where it can be hard to win the game through split push, and you have to then set up for Baron and use the Baron to win. There are obviously exceptions. Like we have seen picks like Fiora just like win the game in a side lane.
Yeah,
that's not what I'm saying. But it gets harder and harder because the further you push in, the easier it is for the enemy team to then move between the lanes and defend and push it back out. And then at some point you might find yourself in a situation where you have to break through like a 5-man group defending. And that's where your comp falls apart. So it's not a done deal just because you're winning the split push at 30 minutes. But Fnatic are trying to win.
A lot more steps to make that work out.
This is good though, I like this.
Playing very aggressively here.
Good
Gonna force down the tower. Brox is gonna be able to at least leap to safety, and Caps is able to secure the mid tower with the help of Reckless. Also, by the way, Caps was able to defend the wave clear when Giants were sieging a few minutes ago.
Yeah, because right now, Kennen took the bot lane tower, and Ryze had to go down and push the wave back, slow push it back. That meant he was missing from mid, and Fnatic could group mid here, so they're ahead on the play. They're using it.
All right, good damage there onto Memento. Soaz coming in from the sideline. The Shadow Dash Taunt catches a few. Jez is looking for the root, and the Stranglethorns splits up the Giants members. Now Knight at risk of being rooted. He instantly cleanses and walks away. Giants survive at the cost of several summoners.
So good for Fnatic here. They defend the mid tower. They got the last outer turret. We just talked about it. It's still fine on time if you're Fnatic here. Just a good setup from pushing bot side. See the Ryze, go mid, take the mid tower. Clean play here from the Fnatic guys. They're looking pretty good so far.
Cool, calm, and collected. Caps look. Whoa!
Bang.
So that happened.
Remember, this champion used to have even more damage?
Yeah, you told me that her single target was nerfed, Deficio.
It was. But there wasn't any distortion damage here.
I mean, was that 100 to 0? I feel like it was.
Pretty sure, yeah. No heal from HQ, no MR from HQ either.
Deficio, 40 minutes, no, an hour and 40 minutes ago, we said this could be, well, this was the most serious match of Caps' career, and look at this play. He insta-gibs Hiku, sets up a kill onto Knight, and now Fnatic with a gigantic gold lead looking into the tower.
And I told you, Trevor, Giants need to be prepared for these engages and these one-off jumps left and right. Whatever you have learned in macro school, throw it away right now. Because this is the kind of game where you just got to be ready for everything. And this is Caps getting a 1v2 kill on HQ, and then he flashes in, sets up another kill on Knight, and Giants, they were not ready.
Deficio, prepare, no, be ready for the unexpected. That was the old saying. It looked like Caps' ulti ate the ace in the hole. Not that it would have made a big difference. HQ, don't pick another fight.
He learned.
Yeah. Able to back away. Caps still fancying a shot here as Hustling and Hiku putting pressure on the tower.
So, Giants really want this mid-lane tower. They will get it this time around. Caps, as we said, on LeBlanc can't really defend when everyone is sieging. Reckless is down in his bottom lane.
Can Fnatic re-engage once again?
This is what Giants Comp wants to do, what Fnatic's Comp doesn't want.
Well, Fnatic in a little bit of trouble. How do they stop the pressure? Soaz, no TP, no stand united. He's now making his way middle. Reckless is recalling as well.
And if you're Giants now, push this wave in mid once again and then reset. Just go back, catch your waves. Because then Fnatic can't push any objective. Let's see, this is the play from before.
1200 HP.
So, Q, E, passive procs with another, yeah, that's just beautiful. That's a good setup.
Oh, so well executed.
And then he's doing it again. Knight, too far out. He's not ready for it.
Thing is, we've not seen enough of this Caps, this split long. Reckless and Soaz will take down Knight here.
Fnatic
ready.
Are punishing Giants. Giants were supposed to reset here, push his wave back out, and then not stay in the side lane, because that's where Fnatic will find you and kill you.
Oh, not again, not again. Flash over the wall. Hiku survives this time round as Roxa's looking to finish him off. Fnatic, they have just unlocked their team composition.
I felt bad for Knight there though, because he's actually pushed out the lane. It was going to slow push for him, and then he just wanted to walk to his team. But instead of walking through the lane, he walked into the jungle. There's no vision, and 3 guys from Fnatic showed up. Expect the unexpected.
Here we go. That's going to be the story of this game. So Giants find themselves in a 5,000 gold hole. It didn't matter in the previous game because Fnatic couldn't close the final hurdle.
Also at Caps right now, 357 AP at 21 minutes. He's still going to destroy you. Oh! Flashes, my friend.
He sold his Sork shoes and picked up Merc Treads. Maybe after seeing he could get it popped, I don't know.
I think he realized it was a misclick.
But that's a frustration, isn't it? It's several hundred gold that you waste on selling and repurchasing the appropriate boots. In a game where there's no, room for it. Now, that's a small mistake, but a number of small mistakes cost this lead.
But you can see how with Fnatic's comp, we said they needed someone to hold mid. It is LeBlanc. With the extra wave clear, with the pressure she's bringing, because she can jump you, they are playing with Ken in one lane, Shen the other, Caps holds mid, and then now, if you go to stop the cannon, be ready for Shen ulti, or be ready for Fnatic to take something on the other side of the map. They are pushing all 3 lanes, and Giants can't respond.
And let's give some credit to Fnatic and their support staff backstage. This is a series that has been defined by playing the map in these side lanes. They just went in all the way in game 2. You know what? We've beaten Giants twice by playing this style, and they're going to try it again.
Reckless is in here. Knight, no flash for a few more seconds.
Come on, Ninja on Ninja combat. Bring in the Stand United. You've done it before. There's the Stand United. Knight gets stunned up, uses the cleanse, insta-stun. And now Soaz connects with a taunt. Don't finish that TP, Flaxish. He doesn't. He gets away, and there's the Fnatic support staff.
It's working.
Feeling pretty confident and happy. Memento, uno momento, por favor. You have a number of Fnatic members looking to run you down. Out of space, out of time. 23 minutes. Fnatic say Baron. Yep, we'll have some of that.
Hiding in that brush is something they've done all series long. Knight has been caught 3 times now. Twice in that top lane when he's like, in a normal situation, I need to push out this wave. But right now, you need to respect the fact you don't know where anyone is.
No, not at all.
Reckless was hiding there again, finding Knight. It looks so simple. He just stays and he waits for someone to show up and kill the wave. You gotta ask yourself, did Knight need to go in and kill the wave? Or could he have waited until he actually saw someone on the map and maybe moved from his base up? It's very easy to say when we're standing here and we can see both sides.
And we have full vision, right?
Yeah. We probably should just do some vision toggles in this one. Like, show how little Giants can see on the map in most situations.
Okay.
And then how difficult it is to deal with Shen ulti, roaming LeBlanc, Kennen sitting in a side and who can 1v1.
Well, this time round, Giants are fortunate enough to have fairly full information. This Fnatic are running straight at them. Flaxish, though, you're caught without the rest of your team. Look at all of this damage. He's dropped to a few hundred hit points. He's going to flash over the wall.
Buff.
Red buff was also going to get enlisted. Not enough to kill thanks to the summoner heal. Memento's able to smite that one down.
And now you're dealing with Baron buff. Reckless bot lane again. And if you are Giants, you have one control ward really far back. Near the enemy blue buff, that's not going to help you. They can see the guys in the lane, so that's fine for now, but they can't see anything in the jungle. They don't know.
You can see them taking down more structures. Tower number 6 falls. Fnatic, well, okay, I didn't even see that one actually. As now the inhibitor turrets are under pressure. Oh, that was a pretty harsh zoom in, guys.
Just remember, the Q damage from LeBlanc is still absolutely insane. But he's probing that with the ulti to get 2 quick hits.
Well, Caps has arrived. The LeBlanc lock-in. It was
the
first
split push, baby.
In phase 2. It's 25 minutes into the game, Deficio. Fnatic have an 11,000 gold lead. Baron buff in a 5-on-4, and now they're winning the team fights. Flaxish has gone down, and Memento's running for his life. The crowd erupts in Fnatic chants as the last Nexus turret goes down. A taunt onto Knight. The only member alive for a few seconds longer is Hikyu. He's being dove underneath the fountain. Caps decides not to chase. The ace, the base, Fnatic are one step closer to the playoffs.
Smiles from Reckless. Locked in Kennen. First rotation was instant lock. It was like, you know what, we're playing split push, guys. We are not doing anything else. We continue the trend from game 1, game 2, and game 3. We talked so much about it, how annoying, how difficult it is to deal with a comp where 4 or 5 guys are just roaming around looking for 1v1s, 2v2s, Shen Kennen. Whenever Knight was like, I need a wave up here, no you don't, you're dead. and Giants simply couldn't respond.
Fnatic looked to be the better team across the entire series, right? They couldn't close in game 2. They had some interesting decision-making around lane prioritization, which I think we can talk about. But what matters here is that Giants won that game. Because Deficio, it is now not as simple as just hope Roccat lose for Fnatic. Fnatic still have to take games off of Misfits and G2 next week in the 2 series. Because game series will matter. It depends on what Roccat do in their score. If Roccat goes 0-2 or 1-2, it impacts the math. So Fnatic will be watching Rockat's games closely. Roccat will be hoping G2 and Misfits also take down Fnatic.
For now, Fnatic managed to secure a 2-1 victory. Would have loved to get a 2-0.
Yes.
That didn't happen, but you got your win, which means you are still fighting for playoffs, which is the most important thing for these guys right now. And you gotta hope that maybe you can beat Misfits. Maybe you take a game off G2.
Well, they have to. One of the scenarios, if Fnatic goes 0-2, 0-2, and Roccat go 1-2, Roccat takes the spot. It's that close. It is that close.
But that's good for us as a broadcast.
Yes.
It's terrible for Fnatic and Roccat, basically, but it's really good for us as a broadcast.
Very, very exciting week 10. Of course, we'll have 4 days of games next week. There'll be 2 best-of-3s on Sunday. I actually think the very last series of the split is Fnatic Misfits. I'm going to do a double check on that one really quickly.
It's the second last.
Second last, there we go.
It is on a Sunday.
Yeah.
That's a special day we have where we play 2 BO5s to end the whole thing.
3s, of course, and yeah, like I mean,
BO3s,
very exciting.
We didn't just make it BO5.
Very exciting stuff. Unfortunately, though, it's a half sad story, isn't it? Fnatic, this close to not making playoffs.
But you can turn every sad story into a good story, Trevor.
Yeah, if you win.
If you win, and then you win the whole playoff, you win the split, and you're like, bam, peaked at the right time.
Yeah, well, that's going to be one hell of a peak.
That would be very impressive.
That might be a bigger peak than climbing Mount Kilimanjaro or Everest. Everest is actually easy. Let's go Everest.
Okay.
Don't know why I went Kilimanjaro first.
Whatever mountain was in your head.
I just went to like mountain I knew in South Africa.
No, I saw Table Mountain, South Africa.
That's easy to climb up and down.
Yeah.
I did that in December last week, actually. Last week? Oh, jeez.
It's getting old.
I'm losing it. I'm losing it. But yes, Fnatic need to peak. They need to play well next week. They play G2 and Misfits. Roccat, they only play G2. They have one opponent to prepare for. And how much easier that can be. Unfortunately, Group B, slightly less exciting with Vitality not picking that win of H2K.
Of course.
However, the race for second in that group is still very spicy as Splice and H2K will be doing battle.
Yeah, they will play each other. I think H2K also plays Origin.
They do indeed.
Which will give them a win. We can.
Oh, you cannot say that anymore.
Oh, we can. In this situation, we can. In this situation, we can. I can agree on the other 9, but in this one, we can. Just saying it. HK should take that one.
Maybe this is where Expected just comes to life, right? And actually turns the team around.
Of course.
Or they start Illusionist and he's the surprise hit. That's what Origin needs.
All Origin needs right now is to win the promotion tournament. Like, that's what they care about.
Yeah, it is what they care about indeed. Just double checking if the interview is ready, and if it is, we're going to head over to Pyra, who's sitting on stage with Caps.
We are indeed ready. Great cast on the Digital and long series, and I'm joined by the man in the mid lane. Caps, you're the player of the series, man. That was a crazy, crazy one. How do you feel after all that's said and done?
I think after game 1, I was ready to just take the next game, 20 minutes, and then go home. But then I think it was when they stole Nash or something that I realized that, oh, this is gonna be a long night.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack here, and the Kale game 1, you managed to make some pretty big plays. But I'll come back to that in a minute. Overall, it was so many crazy trades back and forth. How did you keep your head in a lot of this like ridiculous action that kept going on?
So game 1, I was just pushing bot, so I don't know, there wasn't that much going on, I think. At least not for me. Maybe my teammates were doing a lot of action, I'm not sure. But second game, yeah, it was a crazy game, and it shouldn't have been that crazy. We should have been able to close out somewhat early, but I think a few mistakes from us and just a general bad idea of how we would close out the game made the game go full EU Clown Fiesta.
Well, it does happen every now and again. Can you talk to me a little bit about how the comms were when you guys were trying to make some of these plays that ended up backfiring in game 2?
I think we were pretty down after the plays. Some were like, "Oh, it's fine. We can try again." Or we'll get them next time or something, but the rest were just sitting like completely down.
Well, you managed to resist the mental boom, at least for Game 3, and close it out. So 2-1 on the series, maybe not what you would have exactly hoped for, but a win's important.
Yeah.
How big is it for you to have this win to keep your playoff hopes alive?
I mean, last week we were aiming for playoffs, and we were just like preparing ourselves for playoffs. But now we actually have to start preparing for the teams we face, because Rocket out of the blue just started winning everything, and they won against us as well. So beforehand, we would just be like, we beat the lower tier teams, and then we're fine. But because of the Rocket loss, we actually have to start focusing on winning against Giants here, and the win against Misfits or G2 next week.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said for that. Obviously, it's a complicated playoff scenario. Like right now, you guys can't necessarily secure it up with a win, but you can get yourself in a much better position if you manage to do it. Still, Misfits and G2, how are you feeling? How are you going to attack those 2 games coming up next week?
I'm not sure how we will do it yet. We will probably need to find some interesting ideas, because I don't know if we can manage to improve enough to become better than at least G2 right now. But I mean, you can always cheese and hope for the best.
Yeah, you can at least get 1 game off that. Let me go back to some interesting stuff, because your Kale pick in Game 1 was honestly so out of the blue, and it just completely shredded down the base of Giants. I remember one point you were just 1v1ing Knight and then took the inhibitor and backed off. I mean, where did that pick come from?
So someone told me, like someone PM'd me and said like Kale's OP, and I tried solo queue, and I was just like AFK pushing some lane and won the game. And then I was like, is it actually viable and competitive? I was like, maybe I can survive lane against Vladimir and with Grave jungle as well, and I survived lane, so I could just end the game.
All right, so does that happen often? Do people just message you stuff that they say is OP and you can just try it out and it works?
I mean, I'm playing like tons of crazy things in solo queue, just trying out every pick pretty much, so that I always know like, so I'm ready for a new meta, or I'm ready for some secret picks.
Oh, wow, so we might see more of that. All right, that's super cool, looking forward to it. But you know, you're gonna have one more thing here for you, because Caps, even if you guys don't beat G2 or Misfits, still have a much better chance if Rocket loses on. Are you gonna be watching that game and cheering for G2?
I mean, we're already watching the Misfits game and cheering for Rocket, but it's just kind of sad, right? Because G2 is on a winning streak, and Rocket came out of nowhere, and you kind of want to root for them. But then again, they are stealing our spots, so it's like, I think the best scenario would be where they beat G2 and we beat Misfits and G2.
There you go. So maybe we can hope for that one to happen.
Yes.
Congratulations on your win, Caps.
Thanks.
Oh boy. Okay, we're going to send it off to Dracos and crew for the post-game lobby.
Welcome everyone to the post-game lobby. I'm joined by James Stress O'Leary, Martin DeFiscio, and of course Febiven's mid laner.
Febiven's
mid laner. Strong start. It's been a long day, gentlemen, so let's just jump right into it. H2K's mid laner, Febiven, thank you. You've been here all day. I have no excuses at this point, but I want to start by looking back on kind of some of the series we saw this week that were pretty unexpected, I think. And in the first one, it feels like it has to be Fnatic versus Giants. This one was way more back and forth than I think we expected as a desk. And DeFiscio, as the man casting it, I want to get some of your thoughts in summary.
Very interesting, very funny, very fast-paced. I definitely have to say, don't think it's gonna win awards for like insane, crisp, clean gameplay. I do think Game 1 from Fnatic though with the kill was super cool and like really well executed. And I actually think Game 3 as well. Seems like whenever they play like these like full-on skirmish split push, the enemy team was, in this case Giants, didn't really know how to respond to it.
Exactly, and I think when they're playing against a better team, if they get into playoffs, like I don't think this playstyle will work, but against teams like Giants, they kind of floundered, and it took like 40 minutes for Giants finally to win Game 2. Like, a lot of crazy stuff happened in this series.
Overall, really crazy to see. Febiven, we're getting closer and closer to playoffs. Fnatic haven't quite locked it yet. We'll hit on that more later, but is this Fnatic lineup a team that you're going to be nervous to play against? How are you feeling about their strength overall?
Nah, not really. I think they're fine right now. They have like good early game, and they have. I think that's it basically. Like they know how to snowball, but then also they don't know how to close out games. And their play around Baron is pretty weak, and they just don't seem to be on the same page. And I think we're a better team for sure. Like even in scrims, we don't have like any trouble against them. And even when we're tanking a goal behind, we still come back sometimes. So I don't think they can win against us.
It feels like their playstyle is like, okay, can we get kills? Yes, okay, we win. Okay, we can't get kills. Let's try pushing in the side lane. If that doesn't work, they didn't really have too many options available past that. It seems like they're very formulaic, right?
I mean, we didn't see that much from them. Like we saw the split pushing in the game 1 and game 2, and then this game they just snowball, and you don't really see much either. Like you just see people getting killed, and it's not like it's not like when you watch you don't see like a squad working together. I feel like moving together. Like usually Martin is alone, Reckless is alone on the side lane pushing, you know, and it feels like they're doing their own thing, and doesn't look that great as a team right now.
Yeah, that was actually our story going into especially the third game, where Reckless was just sitting on stage, like he was just practicing, getting ready for the next game, instead of, you know, grouping with the team, discussing the strategy or whatever. It was like, okay, now Caps wants to be the carry, now Reckless wants to be the carry, now, okay, Broxer, he wants to also be on a skirmish. Like, each pick was like on its own able to create some sort of chaos and actually like force a fight or force like a 1v1. And then you don't win as 5. I think you won as 2 or 3. Because it was like a lot of Source and Reckless together. Been like, yay, someone is coming to the side lane to take this wave. We're gonna kill them. And they used that over and over, and Caps would like solo kill people. So a lot of individual performances, which obviously is not how you become the champions. But I think if you're Fnatic right now, you just want to make playoffs. Like, that is the only thing you care about.
Let's then shift our attention over to another series that happened on Friday. Roccat versus Misfits. We saw a lot more team play coming in there. Roccat, very clean games overall, and I think this was a huge surprise.
Can you believe it? Roccat turning their season completely around with a win over the number 2 team in the group. Misfits have been looking so clean, apart from against teams like H2K and G2, so you would think they would be heavily favored against Roccat, but so clean was the games out of Roccat. Like, Faxi finally again showing up, but on different picks. Like, Gragas comes out for him. We saw a lot of solid play out of Roccat in game 1, and Deficio, you're singing Game 2's praises all the way this week.
Loved it. I think Game 2 was super cool. Fun to see Castellan back in the meta as well. Classic European pick. I don't even think it's that strong, especially because you need so much time before you actually become super useful. But I think they played super well as a team in the 1-3-1, and I'm happy when you see like a lot of progression, especially from a team that was down and out.
Yeah.
Like, they were basically down and out.
Yeah,
and then they came
100%.
back in after beating Origin. I just wonder, Fabian, did our bottom teams get better towards the end, or did our top teams slow down?
I think the top teams just didn't improve that much, and the bottom teams like started playing full scaling comps. And we know already that like besides G2, every team is really bad at closing out games. So everyone is playing for late game, and just I don't know, people throw and I don't know, Misfits was really ahead. Like in game 1, I only saw the solo kill mid, and then I didn't watch the game anymore. But I mean, you should win after this, and I think I don't know, Misfit doesn't look that strong right now, I feel like.
Well, let's take a chance then to kind of look at the league as a whole. We are now approaching our final week of the regular split. We have a few teams locked into both playoffs and promotions. Bring up that graphic now to kind of take a look at how this is rolling down. Of course, G2 has locked first place seed. We're now 2 teams locked in the promotion tournament as well. You kind of brought up Misfits as a team that may be struggling. Do you expect to see any huge shifts in the standings in the coming week, Febvin?
No, I think Group A will be the same. Misfits second, and then Fnatic or Roccat third. I don't know what is the problem with Misfits, but they just seem to be stuck with playing one style. Like, I feel like they group a lot, and they don't really know how to play on 3 lanes properly. At least when we played against them and we analyzed them, they always look for the fights. They always look to group, like their top laner groups all the time, their mid laner usually slow pushes waves instead of like grouping. I mean, instead of like pushing all the way and like dragging attention. So I think they're good as 5, but they're just not playing well enough. I don't know.
They have looked super passive when they didn't have a clear way to start a fight. Like exactly what he's mentioning, like when they're in trying to group with like a Rumble comp, you would think, okay, now either you group around like a Dragon or Baron, they come in, you use Rumble ulti, it's great, you know, or you use it to like maybe force people off a tower or something like that. We don't really see it. So I feel like ever since they played you guys in G2, it's been very, very slow. They used to be really good early game and get like these leads with, especially Sin. Again, I keep saying it for Kakao, but like he's been forcing so many plays on it, and they've not been able to do it at all. Funny enough, also ever since Alfari started playing less tanks, and he went into a period where he played a lot of pure play push, and it worked pretty well. Now he's playing like Rumble quite a bit, and I don't think Misfits are playing too well with it.
Well, let's take a look at the matches that are coming up on the table in the coming week to see what the strength of schedule looks like for Misfits, because once again, one of their opponents coming up will be Fnatic, right? And we're gonna see them in the final week, final match of the week. Could be a deciding match for that playoff seed, but these weaknesses, you guys are listing them off like we've seen them, like they're obvious to everyone who's watching. Do you think that Fnatic can exploit some of these weaknesses when it comes down to it?
I think the fact that Rocket were able to handily take out Misfits means I think it's a lot less certain. I think you asked me last week, I say Misfits easily deals with Fnatic, easily deals with Giants, but I mean, I still think that way. They should be able to win. Key thing though, in Group A, Fnatic will lock in a playoff spot if they win versus G2 or Misfits. So Misfits kind of control that destiny as well. There's a lot going on in Group A in next week's games.
Yeah, coming in very, very close on the game differential. Outside of this Misfits versus Fnatic, are you guys feeling confident, Febvin, coming in your matchup against Splyce for the coming week?
Yeah, we have scrimmed them quite a bit actually. I mean, scrims doesn't mean much, but if you win most of your games in scrims, it gives you a pretty good feeling. I mean, we've been doing really good in scrims, but our closing out is still bad. Like last week, I don't know, just after IM, we still have the same mistake. Like we're trying to work on them, like closing out stuff. I feel like our early game is really strong, but just translating it into a win without getting too cocky or it's still shaky. But I think we probably will beat us up a bit for this for today. And
he told us about that. And he actually hit you.
I hope he will do it because it will make me I'm really aware of our mistakes and my own mistakes. So if we fix this stuff, I think we will be good for playoffs and for next week.
All right, well, the standings are, of course, very close in Group B right now to find that first, second, third seed, depending how things unfold. But if you're watching us at the client, be sure to hit up the post-game lobby at youtube.com/LLO Esports as we discuss what could be in store as we head towards the Spring Split Finals in Hamburg. All right, so I'm actually not going to quite talk about the teams. We're going to pivot. We're going to pivot a little bit because it's been a really interesting week. And with two teams now locked in the promotion tournament, I want to shift to that side. We can talk about the top in a little bit, but for now, I want to talk about the bottom because we have two teams locked in. It's Giants, it's Origin, and Misfits Academy. Now, Stret, you bore witness to what we can safely call a colossal upset. So do you want to run us through that one?
This was the biggest surprise. Everybody had pinned Schalke as walking their spot, not only into the promotion tournament, but through Origin into the LCS. And this is something that the Schalke FC side of Schalke as an organization will understand, I think, more than most esports organizations. If you don't show up in-game on the day, you don't deserve the win. You can go 10-0 on the split, but if you don't win the best of 5 that gets you there, you don't deserve it. And unfortunately, Schalke drafted greedily, played greedily, and could not compete with Misfits Academy, who had clearly prepared for this series.
Did you know that the man to my left, Febvin, went to the promotion tournament twice, got 3-0'd both times after being considered the strongest challenger team by many. And he had to get into LCS by being picked up by Fnatic instead.
Wow.
No, actually, no, you made it in with the expansion tournament.
Yes.
Yes. He made it in. You deserve it. You were in there.
All right, give us your thoughts, Febvin, as apparently you've been here multiple times. What's it like playing the promotion tournament? How do you feel like it compares coming in from Challenger to LCS?
Okay, so when we were Cloud9 Eclipse, we were all for myself at least, I was 18 years old, most cocky kid I was ever been in my career, and I was so confident that we would win, and even the whole team was oh, we're just gonna beat this guy. Oh, this guy is so bad, And then when we played, they were playing full solo queue, and they were actually so much better as a team. Against who was it again? It was against Young Bucks team.
Oh, it was Wolves, wasn't it?
Yeah, Copenhagen Wolves. Yeah,
those Ari games.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not trying to.
No, it's fine. But yeah, I mean, just getting into LCS is so much better. You just grow so much as a player, and also from those losses, in Challenger, it has to happen, and you can't be cocky like we were. And I think that was the biggest problem for me, at least.
From playing a promotion tournament myself a few times.
Oh my God!
In my great career, where I was down there visiting a few times. The feeling you have when you sit on stage and you're playing for a job is it's such a different feeling.
it's not even, you're not nervous specifically, you're just kind of like, you can't really find the right mindset. And then when you lose the first game especially, it just sucks because you're like, damn it, we worked so hard to get here and now we're gonna get, kicked out. And it's awful, man. So I can just imagine Schalke in game 1 coming in. We saw the tweets, they were happy, they were ready, they were trash talking and everything. And I respect that part. That's fine to do before the game. But then when you lose game 1, you're just like, damn. We're actually playing like solo queue, they're playing like a team. This is not good, and it just went downhill.
You speak about the nerves, like a player that just didn't seem phased. First time we've seen him on stage, Pride Stalker comes out and demolishes Lulex in 2 games.
Dutch talent.
Rengar one trick.
Well, he played Rengar and he played Kha'Zix, and like this is the first time this young player stepped on stage, and he just goes, "Okay, I'll just like go 8-0 on Kha'Zix in a game," and like Lulex just looked lost. This is a guy that's like been to Worlds. This is a guy that just crushed everybody in Challenger, and it just did not line up for him.
I feel so bad. I mean, literally Twitter for hours after that series was passing gun. Like it was just constant. You can't. That's brutal. Like he's already lost the series. You can't kick him when he's down.
And it's less about kicking him when he's down, but looking at like Misfits Academy prepared for that series. Pride Stalker thrived under the pressure, and Schalke, the organization, the players are going to have to come back in the summer and try and reset off this. But we've got one hell of a series coming tomorrow. Fnatic Academy versus PSG. Yellow Star, the old guard of Fnatic, versus Fnatic Academy. Everything. Wow, this is like, you couldn't have written this.
Also,
PSG.
I feel like the big thing we have to remember here is they don't have Schalke, the 10-0 team. I don't feel like either of these teams is going to be cocky coming into this series, right? Both these guys kind of struggled when all the teams outside of Schalke felt like they kind of struggled into the playoffs, right? It was a very close playoff.
Tripped into the playoffs.
Well, tripped. I feel like there's some effort there, Martin. I don't think anyone tripped into the playoffs.
I feel like Schalke really expected to win, and then Misfits were like, oh, we're not expecting anything. We're just gonna maybe get 3-0. We're gonna win or we're gonna lose. I don't think they had that much expectations, and then Schalke was like, yeah, we're really gonna win, and maybe it hit them like after their first game. I'm not sure, but it can happen, and I think it might have been the case.
I think the interesting thing is PSG are on the upswing after losing to Schalke and Fnatic Academy when Fnatic Academy had Broxer in week 1. PSG have gone back-to-back. 5 out of the last 6 games have been wins for them.
White Knight?
Yeah, White Knight came in, instantly created noise for PSG. Fnatic Academy have been playing musical chairs. Finally, they've got Kikis, amazing. They've got Rales, Niski, and Klai. And like that lineup has been very solid when we've seen it as one unit, but it's only been in the last 2 weeks that Amazing has come into the lineup. So there's so much on the line. And both of these lineups, I think you could argue a case for how they should win this easily.
I feel like we never know.
Yeah.
Every challenger playoffs, we're like, this team's the best. They're going to crush everybody. And sometimes it happens.
People said it last bit about Misfits.
And they struggled.
They're gonna destroy everyone.
They struggled. They barely made it in.
Millennium, the split before, same happened. Like,
oh, yeah. It crashed slightly before, though, but still, it went downhill pretty fast. I guess we have to go back to Origin when they were challenger team. I was like, okay, these guys... No, actually, they auto-qualified.
Yeah.
Because back in the days, you didn't have to play promotion tournaments. They didn't even need to play it.
Yeah.
All right, well, of course, you can find that matchup tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central European Summertime as we go through our own little daylight savings. Is it still called daylight savings here?
I don't know.
We're shifting. I've been informed that the clocks are shifting for some reason. I don't understand how it works. Got it.
An hour forward.
4 p.m. tomorrow
Backward.
in Berlin time. You can translate that yourself depending on where you're living. But now I want to look something a little bit closer. LCS, we've seen a lot of, it's post-game. We've seen a lot of weird shit this week. Let's be honest.
Whoa!
Kassadin,
Damn!
I'm letting loose. We've seen the Kassadin. We've seen a Blitzcrank. I saw a Kale today, a Swain top. Is this 7.5 or are people just having fun, experimenting? Why are we seeing so many odd picks? Fevin, I want to go to you. You obviously are scrimming a ton as a team. What's the deal? Why are there so many oddball picks coming out?
Every patch, champs get nerfed, and you just try stuff out. I think right now the game is kind of getting balanced a bit. There's still OP champs, but I think that also just having surprising picks can really help you to get those wins if you really need them. For example, Fnatic, they really need to win, and I think picking a Kale or something, or even for our series today, Vitality, they pick the trash, I mean, it's kind of normal, but then the trash gets banned and they instantly go to Blitzcrank. So it shows that they really want to hook people and kill them and then just try to snowball, you know. And I think for some teams right now, it's just needed to have those picks. Like even the Swain top, I think it's fine against Camille. I don't know how it works, but yeah, I mean, if you can get a random solo kill or something, it can really snowball.
Yeah, and that's the kind of playstyle that is you're talking about is allowed with there being less like S-tier OP picks. You can pick a containing matchup like Swain into Camille. We saw it a couple of weeks back in Challenger. Like we were talking earlier on the desk about the Kale, pushes in the Vladimir. I'm glad to see that there is room for picks that have very specific niches in response to a pick, that you're not just like, oh, they've locked Syndra, great, we lost the lane. Like, that's everything done. I'm glad there is room for that.
I mean, it seems to be the balance idea from the Riot team in Central, obviously, with like, instead of buffing a lot of things, you nerf what is super strong, because then you hope to have like an open field where, take a Vladimir, he's a strong pick, he's a good pick. He's not an like, oh my God, we have to ban him every game. There's a lot of picks you can play against him. He has weaknesses in the early game with like a wave and so on that you can, pick things like Kale around. That's what Caps said. He was like, maybe I can survive lane in this matchup and get 2 items and then I'm going to win the game. So in that sense, it opens up for a lot of viable picks. There's always the problem where a lot of pro players are afraid of trying certain things. Maybe they need to have some success in solo queue before they bring it into scrim. But the fact that it is a possibility is good. Also because Vitality didn't really play for a whole lot, so there was no pressure. They could go for Blitzcrank if they wanted to. If they lost, no one would blame them. They'd be like, yeah, you lost H2K, happens.
Definitely fair. They also found a win against H2K. It was very close. It was uncomfortably close.
Almost lost the last game.
Yeah, definitely a little close for comfort there for all the H2K fans. Now, something that we've kind of been talking about behind the scenes all day today is blue side versus red side. And I want to touch on this a little bit because 7-5, 7-6, they're very similar patches. From talking to teams, it doesn't seem like there's a ton of changes. So looking at this coming into playoffs, do you feel like blue side or red side is going to be stronger in pick spans? Because we've seen it go back and forth, and it's been very polarizing, it feels like.
There's a lot of shifts because the first few weeks, almost every team picked blue side whenever they could. Because it was like you had to ban Camille, Rengar, LeBlanc on red side. That was it. There was no other bans. Then in the middle of the split, there were a few nerfs, and people were starting to leave some of the OPs open and force the blue side to ban away some of the OPs, and you could then suddenly get more power on red side, and we saw more teams pick red side. Whereas we saw Unicorns a lot very early, give like Rengar, and then pick the Iron against it. So that shifted definitely. I feel like now when you don't have to ban like things like Camille, Rengar, LeBlanc anymore, it gives a lot of power to red side because you have last pick in the last phase, you have first pick in the last phase, you have first ban in the last phase. Like, you have a lot of options right there to dictate the draft, which is really strong. But I can definitely see merit in both sides.
So I'm curious, Febiven, you've obviously just played today. What was your feeling on the draft? Do you feel like you had more control coming in on the red side? Would you prefer to be on blue side more frequently? What are your impressions from today's games and, of course, across the split as well?
I think for me, like personally, for mid, it's like really hard to blind pick a champ on blue side because, I mean, today they went Orianna, so I cannot like blind pick Orianna, which is like the strongest mid. So I fall back to Syndra, obviously. But there's always count like 1, 2, 3 champs against Syndra, and I don't know, it's just not much you can do. Like, you can ban the best champs against it, but then there's something else they can pick. And I think just having red side is so good because if you have like a good top laner, a good mid laner who will place a lot of champs, there's always a good red side situational pick, which you can't really ban because you have 5 bans, it's a lot, but it's still not enough. Like, yeah.
Yeah, just the pool is way too far open.
Yeah, I desperately was trying to come up and build a solid argument about why I was against some of the statistics that came out this week about the first week of play on 7.5, where it was a 61% win rate for blue side and then it fell to 44. I've kind of finalized where I stand on it. Like, a lot of teams on blue side in the first week were drafting blind pickable like AD carries like Ezreal, and then a mid laner like Orianna, which is blind pickable but doesn't win a whole lot of matchups and gives a lot of pace over to their opponents. So when you end up getting a last pick for one winning matchup And if you can win another lane, like this Ezreal, this Orianna need a lot of time, and that's what we saw a lot of teams do on blue side. I don't think it's inherently going to stay that way. When we've had another week of play now, we've seen these funny counters coming in for a lot of the champions and a lot of pacing come back over. But I certainly think that like drafting priorities, that's what messed up Schalke in their series on 7.5. They weren't prepared to pick winning lanes somehow on blue side. It's very difficult with the pacing that red side gets, getting that first pick in phase 2.
Well,
yeah.
The thing I want to touch on here is that we talk about wave pressure so much over the course of the split, how crucial it is to kind of have pushing lanes to set yourself up for success in the early game. When is it okay to take picks like Ezreal that maybe aren't always going to just have the push guaranteed? Like, when can you pick an Orianna who isn't always going to win lane? When can you pick when can you sack a lane in the early game, right, to ensure late game dominance or mid game dominance?
Well, I think you can pick you can pick. For example, for mid, I don't think it's really good to pick like a losing matchup because it means a lot to the game, means that the enemy can always push and move with the jungler, and also creates pressure for the side lanes. So I know for Ezreal, I'm not really a big fan of Ezreal, but if you have already a strong jungler, strong mid, which can relate pressure to that lane, then it's good. And when you can eventually like put the Ezreal mid, and you can always wave clear. But like I think Orianna right now doesn't really have counter, so it's always good to blind pick. She has like, I don't know, maybe Victor is fine against Orianna, but still Orianna has the push and the gank setup. So I think once those blind pickable champs get banned away by red side, there's a lot more counter picks open, and it makes the draft hard and the game as well.
Always has to be a trade-off. Yeah. It becomes like, oh, we sack in one lane, well then you need to win in another lane somewhere. You can't just have, like, I don't remember the last time I've seen a European team win a game with 3 losing lanes. Like, it almost never happens. I saw SKT do it against KT, where KT decided to run headfirst into a wall.
We've had 1 or 2 games with 2 losing lanes. We saw, we saw you guys fall prey to the Victor Ezreal mid game coming in from Unicorns Love once on the side of H2K.
Oh, but I mean, they should have lost, but it's fine.
You say it's fine, but you don't look like it's fine.
No, it was not fine.
All right, well, let's take one more chance to look at the final week coming up of the regular split. This is a reminder that we're going to have 4 days of EULCS coming your way. We've taken a look at the schedule once before. We'll look at it again. Some pretty big matchups coming up. We already talked about Splice versus H2K. Are you nervous at all about your matchup versus OG, Febvin?
Very.
Very. You just shook your head. They can't see it, but I'm putting you on blast. You shook your head and said,
"Very." The worst question ever.
I mean, you're expecting that whole answer anyway.
All right. Well, kind of just as a final closeout moments. Excited most matchups you're most excited for in the coming week, gentlemen?
Fnatic G2.
Fnatic G2.
Fnatic Misfits.
Ooh.
For me.
There's only 2 Fnatic games, Stretch. You're gonna have to pick a different one.
I'm not picking a Fnatic game. I can't believe I'm gonna say this. Roccat G2 is legitimately intriguing.
Because if Rocket can win 1 game, it might actually give them playoffs.
Yeah, like that series, like if you're watching in the future and like Roccat have tanked, like there was a time where we felt like Roccat on a 5-series winning streak potentially could take a game. I don't think they take the series, but.
All right, well, thank you all very much for joining me. If you're watching us in the future, I don't know what to say to that. If you're watching us in the present, though, we'll have 4 games. Or 4 days of games coming up next week, but it's time for us to log out for the night. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back on Thursday at 5 p.m. Central European Summertime as the EULCS Spring Plat comes to its dramatic conclusion. Have a wonderful Saturday evening.
Do you guys have this feeling that sometimes you talk without using your brain? And remember yesterday you were like doing analysis and you're like,
They're pushing up, hitting Febvin a little bit low. They're just going to be flashing forward, and he hits it. First blood on the Unleashed power.
I have warrior now. I'm really OP. I'm really strong. Like, don't see any strong.
Man, Joko, he was going fast right now, putting on those running shoes. But the question is, does he live through this? Because Joko's way too low. Kabushar, he's got no Skarl, and Jankos cleans up in the top lane. A double kill for Jankos. He's looking to make it 3, maybe 4, maybe 5. He hops in for 1 more. That's a double kill for Nuclear, however, and that's gonna be the ace.
And he says that's the bottom line, because H2K said so. That's the name's done. 36.5 minutes in. Man, what a show we got.
Febvin doesn't know the Kabushot's here.
No, it's the Swain! Crowstorm!
for a kill.
Shani trying to live, but he goes down. Combo Shark goes golden, and he goes right back in to try and clean up this fight. Febvin gets a big shutdown, but he's taken down himself as Che flashes away. It is a 2 for 3, but Baron secured by Vitality. Great game out of Vitality. Excellent. They roll the snowball all the way to the finish line, and who'd have thunk it, Stress? We got game 3 as Vitality tie up the series.
Oh, Joko's still following, looking for another. That should be it. Level 6 to level 8 don't even matter, and no stun. Joko, no, he overstays. Honestly, been able to get a little bit more done on the Zyra pickup. Oh, there's an equalizer on a Fnatic and Jay. Let's see what they can get done here. Joko, they get a big shutdown. It's final tick of damage from Cabo Shard, pulling Jankos, and Che was burning down, and Jankos is gonna fall. H2K getting caught with their pants down. Joko managing to get people out of there, and that is going to be Odo going in for a new charge on Nuke Duck. There's a big red carpet in the back, but H2K walked right over it, looking for a shiny, looking for steal back. Nuclear on a rampage, a double kill for him. Vitality melting.
Dragon's Rage kick as we go into base race vision here. Joko cannot do this alone. He has to settle for a ZZ Rod portal, and he has to settle for a loss as H2K, it looked grim, it looks dire, but they come back and close out the series.
Find them out, Kai.
Okay, how tanky is Flaxish?
Not very tanky.
Not very tanky at all. Flashes over the wall, eats the culling, and runs into Jezus. It's Reckless that secures the kill.
Soaz forced to defend.
Yeah, but look at the Nexus! Get a count on the Nexus!
He's under pressure. Caps, he's taken down both. There's a teleport from Soaz.
Oh my god!
Fnatic, they win game number 1 with the backdoor kill.
Oh, someone's gonna get hooked. Someone's gonna get hooked. Dredge line onto Hiku. Instant flash away, flash forward. The depth charge knocks Hiku up in the air. Exhaust buys a few seconds, but not enough.
Soaz is locked up from the team. He gets taunted up. A full channel culling onto Hiku. He's pulled. The hero playing obliterates Hiku. Now Fnatic continue to push. This is the fight they were looking for. Spirit's Refuge buys some time, but not enough. Flaxish goes down.
Memento, they could try the combo. Throws out the Qs. 1,500 going in. It's stolen! Giants get the Baron! And Memento gets out alive!
Reckless has no minions! There's no minions!
It's going low. Matt Reckless is going low to Fishy.
Oh, Giants have pushed down the Nexus. Reckless had no minions!
Have
Giants gotta do it!
Giants turned it around?
Oh
Giants
my God.
force a deciding game 3.
They're looking pretty good so far.
Cool, calm, and collected. Caps look. Whoa!
Bang.
The crowd erupts in Fnatic chants as the last Nexus turret goes down. A taunt onto Knight. The only member alive for a few seconds longer is Hiku. He's being dove underneath the fountain. Caps decides not to chase. The ace, the base, Fnatic are one step closer to the playoffs.